Traveling is a passion for many. Before the coronavirus pandemic gripped the world, packing your bags and heading out to explore new destinations used to be fun. The iconic landmarks around the world used to be thronging with visitors from every corner of the planet. Those of us who choose to travel now in the COVID era might decide our destinations based on different parameters. We may seek less crowded places such as wildlife reserves, secluded beaches or remote hill stations. The road ahead for the tourism industry is filled with uncertainties, but things are slowly inching back to normalcy.
Hello and welcome to the Future series, a special show on WION. In today's program, we are going to show you how the travel and tourism industry is opening up again after the lifting of travel restrictions and lockdowns due to COVID-19. We will highlight the current status of the industry, show you a case study of a country heavily reliant on tourism, and how they envision the road ahead for attracting visitors.
By the end of March 2020, more than 1.7 billion people were in lockdown due to the coronavirus pandemic. It's been more than 17 months since the initial lockdowns were imposed. Many of the countries that closed their borders have created travel bubbles with other nations to allow some form of travel and tourism. In India, the idea of international travel is once again a possibility. With the world's largest vaccination program in full swing and a decline in daily COVID-19 cases, travel is possible to countries with which India has bilateral air bubble agreements. There are a number of factors that must be kept in mind for international travel. You need to take into consideration visa rules, testing and quarantine rules, COVID infection rates, health insurance, and vaccine requirements, among other things.
For me, I think that it will never be normal for the tourists to make their own plan to visit any countries. First, from the mindset, I think that the tourists normally their mindset will be changed. I think they will be more well planned and more cautious to make their own plan, to go to where, what to do during the trip. And I think the second thing is that the measures of each country, including Thailand, to receive the visitors will be changed as well. We have to adapt. The priority will be on the health safety of the visitors. So I think that the measures of every country and Thailand also, we will put a lot of measures to be able to manage and control the spread of any new cases of the infections. And this will start not only in the Thailand itself, but I think start from the beginning when you travel from your own country. Flying on board the flight, you have to be, I think a lot of measures you have to deal with it until you arrive at the destination and enjoy your life. And I think the third that will be new normal for me is that I think that for Thailand, we will try to transform our tourism policy, not only to focus on the what you call mass tourism or the low-cost industry, but we want to focus more on the high-end tourism and also low-density tourism.
In late August, India announced that regular international passenger flights will remain banned until the end of September this year. It is still possible to travel though. India has bilateral air bubble agreements with 18 countries to where Indians can travel on special flights. Let's take a look at which countries are on the list.
The countries that are open for Indian visitors right now are Bahrain, Bangladesh, Canada, France, Germany, Afghanistan, Japan, Kenya, Kuwait, Maldives, Nepal, Oman, Qatar, Russia, Sri Lanka, UAE, UK, and the US. These agreements allow travel to a predetermined list of 50 cities around the world, such as Toronto, Vancouver, Paris, Frankfurt, Nairobi, Kuwait, Moscow, London, New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. Each country has its own set of rules. For example, Australian travelers can rule out a winter holiday to some of the popular cities in Southeast Asia until next winter. Australia's COVID border restrictions are some of the harshest in the world. Qantas Airways, the flag carrier of Australia, currently sees such destinations only opening up from April of 2022.
Flights to places with lower vaccination rates will restart from April 22 at the earliest. Places like Bali, Jakarta, Manila and Johannesburg.
To draw tourists back to international destinations will involve making the experience safe, but also convenient, so as to not overburden holidaymakers. With far lesser crowds thronging beaches, social distancing on aircraft and in restaurants, the future of travel might just be what solitude seekers look for when choosing a destination. On the other hand, the experience might feel dull for those seeking places buzzing with activity. So, promoting tourism and travel in a post-pandemic world can look quite different from what we are used to.
Living through this pandemic makes one thing clear: we are slowly but surely reaching a new normal. For some travelers, the new normal is like a dream. There's less pollution, less traffic, and more space on the beach.
It's become a paradise, just like it was 30 years ago.
Nice and quiet, it's clean enough, the weather is good. What more do you want?
Tourism continues to be one of the sectors hit hardest by the COVID-19 pandemic. The tourism-dependent economies are among those harmed the most by the pandemic. And now, with things in control, they are looking to welcome visitors back.
We follow really clear and really strict guidelines about health and hygiene, but not so much as to deter you from experiencing all the fun, all the joys you can get while traveling in Thailand. That is the most important thing. We have managed to successfully balance out the hygiene side and the travel side of traveling in Thailand. That is evident by the fact that we have successfully reopened Phuket, successfully reopened Koh Samui.
Thailand is a favorite destination for travelers around the world. For Indian travelers, beaches, shopping, entertainment and golf are the big attractions. It has also emerged as one of the top honeymoon destinations for Indian couples. Up next, we bring you our list of the top 5 destinations in Thailand.
Topping the list is Bangkok, which is also the most visited city in the world for tourists, with over 22 million international visitors in 2019. The mega city is famous for being one of the best for shopping in Asia, and there are an endless number of things to do in this metropolis.
Some may argue Bangkok may be even number 1 because it has everything. It's such a big city, the capital city. Temples, nightlife, dining, it has everything.
Number 2 on our list is Pattaya, which is a great destination for nightlife and also golf. Considering its proximity to the capital city, it can easily be included as an addition to visiting Bangkok and is very popular as a beach resort. In a recent survey, Pattaya was in the top 15 most visited international cities with over 9 million total international visitors. Thailand has some of the best beaches in the world, and Koh Samui beaches have some of the finest white sand in Thailand. Koh Samui is the largest in an archipelago of roughly 60 islands and is ideal for island hopping adventures, affordable scuba diving courses, and has a plethora of wellness options.
Already open also Koh Samui, may not be as well known as Phuket yet, but it's really up there for long stay visitors. It's a fantastic place for health and wellness. Spas, world-class spas are there.
The next must-visit city on our list is Chiang Mai, a historical city located in the north of Thailand. It is famous for its historical temples, picturesque mountains, and cool weather. Visiting the indigenous tribes who are still following their ancient customs is sure to leave travelers with memories of a lifetime.
Chiang Mai in northern Thailand would be number 4 or rank in the top 5. A different culture there, different traditions, mountainous, cool weather, especially lovely during winter time.
No visit to Thailand would be complete without experiencing Phuket. Located in the south of Thailand, it is the largest and arguably the most exciting of all Thai islands. Clearly, others agree. In the year 2019, it hosted 10 million international visitors. It is also the starting point for many who travel to other islands located on the western coast of Thailand, famed for their natural beauty.
When countries open up for travel, the regulations are often the same for the entire country. Thailand, however, has decided to try a novel approach to opening up by starting with a region to which tourists can come. Foreign visitors are now allowed in from selected countries, and more countries are gradually getting added to the list. Rather than a 14-day quarantine inside a hotel, the visitors can move around freely on the entire island through the Phuket Sandbox scheme. After 7 days of COVID tests and remaining within the sandbox, travelers can then visit more areas.
In the first test of how travel in the immediate post-COVID era might look like, Thailand opened up its resort island of Phuket on July 1st.
We already opened actually from beginning of the 1st of July this year. We start reopen to foreign tourists to visit Thailand in some specific areas named Phuket, and also we already extended to Samui. That have been already started, but to some certain country that with low and medium risk, which we hope that soon we can be able to include India into this list. So this is what we call Phuket Sandbox, and now it's Samui Plus. So we have a numbers of the tourists visit Thailand through these projects already. It's about 30,000 tourists visit Phuket for the past two months.
In Thailand's much-discussed Sandbox pilot scheme, its largest island has reopened to travelers that come from countries deemed low to medium risk. Travelers must be vaccinated to enter the island, but do not have to quarantine. They can freely travel within Phuket, and since August 15th, they can visit other areas for 7 days, after only a week of staying on the island under the latest Sandbox 7+7 scheme.
We opened the islands first, especially the main tourist island of Phuket. And that was on the 1st of July. Then we followed that up with another island, or rather a set of islands in the Gulf of Thailand, Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, and Koh Tao. Okay. Now, you may be wondering why islands first. Well, islands are more easily controlled. And they are all top world-class tourist destinations already. So that's why we're opening the islands first. Okay, and these islands, they already have direct flights. There's a huge demand for them everywhere. And they're very complete in tourism facilities and services.
Phuket has a high vaccination rate, and ever since it opened up to international arrivals, tourists are estimated to have contributed over $50 million to the local economy. Most of the visitors that have made their way to Thailand during this trial period are long-haul travelers from the West. If successful, Phuket's Sandbox plan will likely be introduced in other parts of Thailand in the not-too-distant future.
We plan to open to Bangkok, Chonburi, and I think Hua Hin, which is in Prachuap Khiri Khan, and Phetchaburi. And of course, that we already included in the list the cities like Phang Nga or Krabi, which in the south. So these are in the plans. But of course, we cannot say exactly right now that when is the date for this opening. since we still have to monitor closely the daily infections of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Bangkok is known for having a great public transport system, and in recent years a lot has been done to modernize and improve the rail infrastructure, both for subways and trains. The historic Bangkok railway station has always been central to train travel in the country, and change is on the horizon for this architectural landmark.
Bangkok Railway Station, also known as the Hua Lamphong Station, has been the central hub for train services in Thailand for more than 100 years. The ornate station is now reaching the end of the line, as Thai authorities plan to move operations to their new modern Grand Station later this year. The historic building will soon be repurposed into a museum, adding to the many sights for tourists to see while they visit.
This station still be in mind of the Thai people. People always remember the train by recognize the Bangkok station. So when they open Bangkok Grand Station, is the big station. It's the biggest station in Southeast Asia now. So many activity gonna start move to Bangkok Grand Station, but Bangkok Station still keep as a museum by the purpose of the government.
The Hua Lamphong Station showcases Italian neo-Renaissance architecture and was opened to the public on June 25, 1916, and has regularly been refurbished to accommodate the growing demand. With more than a century of service, the station has been an integral part of the lives of many commuters, with an estimated 70,000 daily passengers before the pandemic.
This station proves to be a lot more convenient for me. It has become a transport hub. Even though the stations are close to each other, traveling from this station will save me a lot of travel costs. If I get a cab here, it'll be a lot cheaper.
Thailand has taken immense strides in train travel in recent years. In 2019, a new underground train service opened in Bangkok that connects the city's many tourist attractions, a boon for tourists. Thailand also successfully tested its first ever driverless train in October 2020, marking a new era of train travel in the country. The Bombardier Innovia APM electric train consists of 2 carriages and can accommodate 276 passengers per train. To ensure the safety of passengers, transport workers are being vaccinated on priority. They use the proof of vaccination to make the passengers feel more at ease while traveling.
If I stick the vaccination card up on my windshield, then the passengers would feel confident when they see it. They would feel comfortable in my services since they know that I'm virus-free.
The road to opening up after COVID-19 includes step-by-step lifting of rules and regulations for public places and shopping centers. Shopping malls, restaurants, parks and schools reopened in Thailand's capital in late July after the government eased restrictions intended to slow the spread of the coronavirus.
Shopping malls, restaurants, parks and schools reopened in Thailand's capital in late July after the government's eased restrictions intended to slow the spread of the coronavirus. At the upmarket Economies Mall in Bangkok, customers were greeted by staff and given hand sanitizing gel. Shoppers are instructed to register via an app, while staff must take rapid COVID-19 tests on a regular basis.
I think the situation is getting better because many people are getting vaccinated and they are being more cautious.
When I walked over here, I said to my partner that I can't believe that we can return to some normalcy. I don't think this is possible because we have been living with COVID for so long and staying at home and not going anywhere. It's relaxing to come back here.
Most restrictions on retail and dining have been lifted. Restaurants are allowed to resume dine-in services, with 75% capacity allowed for outdoor dining spaces and 50% for air-conditioned locations. But it's mandatory for the service staff and customers to show proof of vaccination before entering restaurants. Hair salons and foot massage parlors have also reopened with similar safety protocols.
Thailand has always been one of my favorite destinations for a holiday, and a few years back I participated in the Songkran Festival, Thailand's New Year's celebrations in Bangkok, among other things. Let's take a trip down memory lane and see how vibrant traveling in Thailand was before the pandemic.
Bangkok, a hugely entertaining place to visit, always buzzing with activity. It is a melting pot of culture where old meets new. In the pre-pandemic period, the tradition on Songkran, the Thai New Year that falls in April of every year, was to use water to clean and purify temples. That ritual expanded to include people, and over the years, it basically became a giant water fight that continues for 3 full days. The streets would get cordoned off to accommodate revelers, and street vendors make a killing selling iced water and water guns to enthusiastic crowds. If there's one place to be in April, it's the center of Bangkok. Armed with water guns, everybody is having a great time dousing each other with copious amounts of water. This festival is probably my favorite anywhere in the world. And a good way to finish up a day of water fights is with some classic Thai street food. In Pattaya, a few hours drive from Bangkok, I found this incredible castle currently in construction on a plot facing the ocean. It's called the Sanctuary of Truth. It was designed by the Thai businessman Lek Viryaphan in the Ayutthaya style and is the largest wood building in Thailand. The sanctuary is intended to depict human values and philosophies. This monument is awe-inspiring. It's built entirely of wood, and apparently not a single nail has been used in its construction. Walking around this compound, I can't help but wonder how much effort and labor must have gone into creating this marvel. In fact, construction is not finished yet, and it's expected to carry on until 2050. The beach destination of Pattaya is also a popular jump-off point for exploring the islands off the coast of Thailand's eastern coast, and a day out on a catamaran is hard to beat. Now, Pattaya once was a sleepy fishing village. Now it's teeming with golf courses that are a big hit with Indian visitors, as is the vibrant nightlife. For anyone looking for a destination that has everything, including delectable food, warm hospitality, and pristine beaches, Thailand is the place to be.